the show for another episode of our Raw Reaction series, the show in which we react to the latest Arsenal news, matches, transfers, speculation, everything possible on this channel. And this isn't really a show I thought I would be doing, talking about this specific news that has broken around midday in England here, and that is that Everton have had a £30 million move for Alex Iwobi, Nigerian international, Arsenal winger, rejected, and it is also speculated that they are going to return with a improved bid for the Nigerian international. So very interesting news. We're going to react to that. We're going to react to the latest Coutinho news as well and get our thoughts of our live chat. Thank you ever so much, everyone who's tuning in the live chat. Thank you ever so much for tuning in, people. As Josh Watson says there, things are getting very, very interesting indeed. So 40 million for Iwobi is highway robbery, to be honest, says Keck. I'm not sure who for. I'm assuming for us. So let's talk about this Iwobi thing then. A question I saw came in at the beginning saying, would you swap Iwobi and Digne? If we weren't getting T&E, probably so. But let's talk about the deal itself and then go into some of your comments. So Kieran Tierney, I'll get it on the screen for you now. According to David Ornstein, as you can see there, £30 million bid rejected, made to Arsenal today and knocked back. Expected to return with an improved offer, but likely will need to be 40 million plus to be accepted. Iwobi is not agitating for a move, but would go if the deal was agreed. The interest is basically in addition to the Wilfried Zaha interest, in which Crystal Palace have told them that they are not going to sell for anything less than 100 million. They're about 70 million plus St. Tosin and in MacArthur, I think it was, or McCarthy, knocked back. That's a lot of money, a lot of players that have been rejected by Crystal Palace. So clearly they are not intending to sell, which I'm finding at this stage really odd. If you can get £70 million in, St. Tosin, who had a really good spell in Turkey, hasn't done so well at Everton, but he's an option. And they were in for McCarthy, I think, at the beginning of the window. So it's surprising they've not gone for that, especially for a player that's very unsettled. And I can't imagine will play his best at Crystal Palace. But the fact that Everton have now reverted to going for Iwobi is really interesting. I didn't think they would do that. I completely understand the move. I think it makes logistical sense for both Everton, for Arsenal, and for the player as well. Iwobi needs more game time. He'll probably want that. Speaking without my biased head on, I think it would actually be a really good move for him to get more game time, go play there, get regular game. You've got the likes of Nelson, Martinelli, Saka, who are coming through. They're going to be on his heels, pushing for that starting berth, and he could get left out in the cold if he's not careful. But there's also part of me that has a lot of respect for Iwobi. Iwobi gets a hell of a lot of stick at Arsenal from a lot of fans. And that's why you can see a lot of people are saying we should definitely sell him, saying God666 says I would sell Iwobi for 30 million there. People are saying that they would let him go. Thank you ever so much, people who are tuning in, watching from Indiana, says Ryan Cost. Frederick Essian says, wow, 40 million, it'd be a lot of money. Lyndon says Iwobi 100 million plus Andre Gomez at least. I think you're a bit ambitious there, mate. And Lord Zeus says that he would let him go for 40 million as well. I would have taken the 30 million if we would have got a replacement in, and by a replacement it could be the other player that we're going to talk about in a second. But in terms of Arsenal transfers, these 48 hours are going to be insane. We know that. I'm going to try and keep you as up to date as feasibly possible. But this Iwobi deal has really come out of nowhere. Do I expect it to happen at this stage? No, I don't. I don't think we would, because I don't think we've got enough in place to sort of replace him. But at the same time, if it means that we can get that extra money that we need in order to fund a deal for Upamecano, then 100% we should go for it. We should let Iwobi go. We should bring in that money and pay the 100 million release clause for Upamecano. Yes, I'm telling you to pay the 100 million release clause for Upamecano. I can't believe I'm saying these words. Arsenal and 100 million don't equate next to each other. But if that's what RB Leipzig want, if we can get 40 million in for Iwobi, people were saying that they would have bid 60 million. So if we can get 40 million in off Iwobi, then 60 million for me, that's enough. With that money, I would do it all day long. God says, are we Everton going to come in with an improved bid? That's the reports, mate. That is what is being reported. Supposedly, Lord Zeus reckons that that's a waste. Abiodun says that Iwobi, an academy product, is one of our own. He is, but ultimately he's collateral. He is product. He is something that we can use to sell. And I think it's important that we do get as much money as we can in to try and put that money back into some deals that we can get done during this window of whatever little time we've got left. Abdi Odin says we're for promoting youth, but some want Iwobi sold. I think that there's two sides to look at that statement, to be honest, because you could say that yes, we are promoting from youth and we want to see our academy products come through, like Iwobi. But if you were to sell Iwobi and bring through Upamecano, who's a fantastic centre back that we need, it also opens the door for more academy products like Saka, for instance, like Nelson, and also for the young signings like Martinelli to come through and make a real impact. So for me, I don't see it as a big issue letting Iwobi go, especially for that amount of money. I think it's a really, really good deal. Everton have the money. They've shown that with the money that they bid for Wilfried Zaha. I think that it would be an absolutely great deal. If we were to get £40 million for Alex Iwobi, that is an incredible bit of business that we could do. Let's talk about the next bit of news, which is more news close to home before I go on to the final bit. And that is that Carl Jenkinson has left the club for Nottingham Forest. He has joined Nottingham Forest for about £2 million. I'm not going to spend too long talking about this. Best of luck to Carl Jenkinson. I think he did really well for the club while he was here, for the little bits that he could do. He frustrated the hell out of people, didn't get too much game time, but the games that he did play, he tried his hardest, put all his effort in. And if you are going to leave the club this summer, unlike some other people, that's the way you do it. Played pre-season, put his heart and soul into it, couldn't eventually get what he wanted, and he's got to move, and he's made Arsenal a few quid from it. So I'm more than happy for that to happen, more than happy to see him go, and that's fine by me. But I don't really want to spend too much on that because I want to talk about the other main news, which is on Philippe Coutinho. Philippe Coutinho obviously linked yesterday up and down. First, we were linked to him saying that we are definitely going to be signing him. The next thing that came around saying that Spurs are going to be signing him. And then late last night, it turned out that Arsenal were apparently a little bit more interested than we had earlier seemed to believe. So it's gone up and down like crazy. And the latest news, according to TalkSport, is that Coutinho is believed to prefer to stay at Barcelona this season, won't be leaving them for us or Spurs, which is... Well, I can look at this two ways. When we were initially linked to it, I liked the idea of it. I think I liked the idea of it annoying some Liverpool fans as an Arsenal fan, and I'm not the big fan of Liverpool whatsoever, but I think that appealed to me. He is a decent player, but the more I thought about it, even after doing a tactical breakdown, doing a raw reaction show, breaking down his statistics, the more I talked about it, the more I thought about it, I actually started to think that maybe he's not the guy we should be going for, and I'm not that keen on him. Yes, he brings a lot of talent in terms of his dribbling and his ball-carrying ability, but in terms of what he actually does for a goal scorer inside and attacking, last season was poor. 5 goals, 3 assists. I'm really starting to step back on the idea of Coutinho. It wouldn't upset me if it doesn't get done. I'm very much more of the opinion that we need to go out and get the deal for a centre-back done, be that Upamecano or be that Daniele Rugani. That is, for me, either of those two, I will be happy as long as we bring someone in. Rugani at this stage seems the more likely. If we can get some money in for Iwobi, maybe that deal suddenly becomes more likely. Who knows? It could go either way. It really could. Ryan Cost, there's that I'm spot on. What else are we saying here? Jack Webb, we are not Everton. We don't sign Barca rejects willy-nilly. I wouldn't say that Andre Gomez is a Barca reject or Dino. I think they were 2 very good players. And actually, they did very well when they were there. They just couldn't get in the minds and the eyes of a lot of the fans. And they've done really, really well since leaving, it's fair to say. So you shouldn't understate that. The 10 rules of the game says that we need Upamecano and Tierney. 100% agree with you, mate. Benjamin Wright says that we need a right back and 2 centre backs. Right back, I'm not too fussed on right back. I think we really need to focus on getting a centre back deal done. Avon says, how is the Rugani going? Will Juve go for a 2-year loan deal? I think it's likely that this will happen. Out of the 2, I think this is the most likely deal that we'll see done this window. I said yesterday that I was 20%. I was 50-50 on Kieran Tierney. And now, and then yesterday I said I was about 20-80 in favour of him not coming in this summer. I'm back up to 50-50. I've seen a couple of things that have made me think maybe this deal can get done. As I said, it's very touch and go. The news is coming out from Celtic, from Neil Lennon, that apparently he is not going to be out for those 8 weeks as reported. That's nonsense. And you could look at that in many ways. You could say that great for Celtic. That means they got a good player that they can get playing. Or it could be that Celtic actually are a bit fed up with how this has gone down and they want to get the money in for him as soon as possible. And so selling him by saying he's not going to be out for as long, bring in the money, pay what you need for him. Maybe that's why they've done it. I'm not sure. But again, I'm still very 50-50 on the Kieran Tierney thing. It's gone very, very quiet, though. Anuj says that, hi, Tom, I think that we should sell Iwobi and invest the money in bringing in a defender. Yeah, we were discussing that earlier. I definitely think that's the way it should go. Jack Webb says, with Jenkinson gone, we only have one recognised right back. I wouldn't say that we have one. I think Maitland-Niles has shown that he's more than capable of playing that role. And if you watched him in the Barcelona game, if you put the own goal aside, and I think that's quite a hard thing to do, I know, because it's an own goal, but it was only a pre-season game. But I think that actually in the game he played, I thought in the first half he was arguably one of the best players on the pitch. I thought he was brilliant. His interplay was great. His tackling was good. His positioning was good. His pace getting back was good. Passing was good. I thought he was really good, Maitland-Niles. And for him to come in for Bellerin at the start of the season, I'm absolutely fine with. As you think back to the start of last season, obviously he started the game against Manchester City, went off injured, came back, struggled to really get his pace back and get him back into the team. Now we can get him going full frontal at the start of the season. It's going to be really good to see him hit the ground running, and I have a lot of hopes for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I'm no longer of the opinion that we should be looking to push him into midfield. I think he needs to make that right back slot his own. I think he needs to compete with Bellerin, and that's going to make him a better player overall. Gunners says there that Ainsley will be quality. He just needs experience. I completely agree with you there, mate. Niles is a Gra player, whatever that means. But in his natural position, again, this natural position thing, I think he's starting to get very natural in that right back role. Henry Oakland says, Tom, rate the transfer window. If it's closed right now, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I've slipped from the original 8 that I gave it. I gave it 8 originally. But if we don't sign any defensive players this summer, arguably it's a failure. And I only go higher than 6 because of how good the signings have been in terms of Ceballos and of course, Nicolas Pepe. So I go 7, maybe 6.5 if it was to close right now. I'm hoping it's going to be 8-9 if we can sign a good centre-back in Kieran Tierney. 8-9 easy. But 6-7 for me right now is about where I'm at. If he agrees with me there, thinks about 6 out of 10. Football Fan Chat says thoughts on Coutinho to Spurs and Spurs only. I think if it means that he's going and Eriksen is leaving, I'd take that. As I said, and I put a tweet out yesterday, I said that there's only been one player in recent history that I've ever been jealous about Spurs having, and that's Christian Eriksen. So if Coutinho coming in means Eriksen leaving, I'm all for that. Get rid of him because he's world class and they shouldn't have him. The term rules of the game says specific training for players development, Iwobi, Nelson, Mavropanos, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Yeah, we'll see coaching next season come in. It's going to be intriguing to see how that works. Let's try not to advertise the drink I'm drinking here. Mitchell Bolson says, this is nonsense. Jim trying to drum up some profile for himself again. You can say it's nonsense, but what's his face? David Ornstein has told us supposedly that we are in for that. Stop sharing that screen. You've been sharing that for ages. Supposedly, Ornstein has said that this is also true. So I'm not. I have complete faith that this is actually real and this is happening. Not at all. Shush, Football Fan Chat. Stop telling people what I'm drinking. K Passa says, surely Edu can find a decent defender in South America. We were linked with that Kahneman for a while. I'm not sure why that's gone quiet, but it did. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. Don Titan, sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. I'm just going to try and find it. Don Titan says, we can't let Spurs get Dybala and Coutinho. That would be annoying. It would, but Dybala, I don't think they're going to get either, is my prediction. I might be very, very wrong, but that's my prediction. I don't think they're going to get either. I think Dybala wants to stay at Juve, and I don't think Coutinho would want to go to Spurs, but I might be wrong, and if I am, I'll hold my hands up. But I don't think they're going to get either. Football Fan Chats, can you answer the question? Are you StreamYard? How did you change the style of the comments on the screen? There's a little brand thing that you can click, I think, on settings. Try that. Click some buttons. Dean Bevan says, Solomo bid 45 million, get Regani and Zaha. Again, Zaha is going to be going for about 100 million. If we can't afford up a Meccano for 100 million without Iwobi, I doubt we can get Zaha in. Triplet 3 says, if Iwobi was from the French league, he would be around 10 million. Agreed, he probably would, but he's not. He's from the Premier League, and that requires a premium to sell players for. Gary Hardy says, with players like Nelson and Saka, it's a no-brainer to talk the money and invest in defence. I 100% agree with you there. Get Out Stan Kroenke says, is it true that Kieran Tierney isn't 100% fit and is currently carrying an injury? If that is true, then isn't it problematic for us? It is 100% true. He is definitely carrying an injury. It's not true that he'd be out for 8 weeks. That is a load of rubbish. But yes, you could argue it's an issue. But I think we've got two left backs in Kolasinac and Monreal that can provide more than capable backup if we need it. A couple more, and then we're gonna jump off. Jack Perry says, would you rather sign Tierney and Regani or sell Iwobi and just get Upamecano? I would rather we just signed Upamecano, personally. I really, really would. Whilst I love Tierney, I like Regani a lot. But Upamecano is one of those defence transforming defenders like Van Dijk to Liverpool for me. And I think it's worth it in that sense. So 100% go for Upamecano all day long. Henry says, Iwobi and Kelechi for 50 million. Has Kelechi left or not? Unless that's Kelechi. Is that the other Kelechi you're on about? Or are you talking about Nwakali, the other Nigerian that we've got? I think he's Nigerian. Apologies if he's not. Kenneth Methu says, surely Mustafi has to pull his weight this season, 100% if he's staying, which looks like he is. Jack Webb says, Tom, who would your first choice left back with no Tierney? I'd go Kolasinac. I think he's had a really good pre-season. I think that he's learning more of the role defensively as well. That's improving his game. And I think that next season we'll see Kolasinac a lot better than we've seen him previously. Again, if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up. But yeah, Henry Ogan says he is Nigerian. I thought I was. Done my research there a bit. He went out on loan to Holland, I think, at one point. God says Arsenal should go for an improved bid for Upamecano. They should. It's just a really, really difficult deal to get done. Chris KR7 says, what do you think of Digne? I really like Digne. I really, really like Dean. I think that he's a really, really good player. And if you could actually get a swap deal for Dean and Iwobi, 100% all day. Go for it all day long. Dean is better than Tierney, says Wound Raider. Oh, Christ, what a name. E-Man300 says we should get cash out for Iwobi. We should. K-Man says Iwobi out could mean Zaha. I think that means not Louis Zaha. I don't think it will personally, but it's good to get him gone and get some money in. Abram says thoughts on introducing a transfer fee limit. These exorbitant player prices will only be detrimental for the game going forwards. Ultimately, these player prices, if you think about it, and this is the last thing we'll talk about, if you think about it, the prices are exactly the same as they were 10 years ago. I know numbers different. I'm well aware of that, but you got to think about the income from television, from advertisement deals, from sponsorship deals. Ultimately, the income's gone up, and that means that the outlay on players has gone up. Like, Iwobi's not worth £40 million. And 10 years ago, he would have been worth, at the same player at the same age, probably about £20 million. But the fees for players have doubled because the amount of income of the teams has doubled. So if you think about it, you can say that the money going into football is ludicrous, and you can say that they're paying too much money. But if you think about it, the only people that are losing out are the actual TV companies, because and the fans, of course, having to pay the exorbitant prices. But the price of these TV deals has only gone up relatively, nowhere near relative to the amount of money that's being spent on players or the amount of money that's being paid for the rights to get on your station. So the actual money in football, whilst is looking from the outside as a number, yes, it's gone up for sure. But in terms of relativity, if you're thinking about how much money is being spent, but how much money they're bringing in as clubs, it's not really changed too much. The prices of players have gone up because companies and businesses and football clubs are earning more money. And that's why it works that way. It's as simple as that. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We've gone up a couple of tangents today. If there's any more news, of course, I will jump back on and do another show for you guys. But I hope you've been enjoying the shows. If you have, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. If you do, you can get involved like these guys have in our chat here. Getting involved, talking about the game, just highlighting some comments here so that people can see, getting your name on the screen. I know people love getting involved with the chats and stuff. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. We'll be back live very, very soon, I'm sure, with some more news. With the last 36 hours or so of the window left, keep your fingers crossed. I'm really hoping that Arsenal get something done. I'm optimistic that they will. So let's see what happens. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. See you again very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.